Hello and welcome to First Geek 411. This is episode 139, and I'm your host, Cameron Franklin. With me, as always, my best man, Chris Nicolay. How are you doing today?
Hello. I'm good. I'm a little tired, and I'm not multitasking very well.
It's all good. It's a Monday. Joining us from Canada, the Hoot and How, Shanine. How are you?
Good.
And then all the way from where I just was in Colorado, Emma. How are you?
Long time no see.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good. Got no complaints. It was a nice sunny day here in Colorado. We had a mini
left the house today.
We had a mini thunderstorm while I was at work, sitting outside,
We can use a
checking people
thunderstorm.
in to meet their teachers.
Oh.
It was very pleasant.
It's like officially fire season here. So I can't see the mountains. It's really disconcerting.
Yeah, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
We've got fire season too.
That's probably
We
why I'm
can't
probably
see the
not
mountains
sleeping
either.
well because of all the smoke. That's why I'm out of it.
This week, we're chatting about David Tennant's podcast, Olivia Wilde's movie, and the DC FanDome. And then we'll be doing our top 3 mythical animals. They were supposed to be not the popular ones based on the show last week, but I don't know what that meant. So I picked 3 of them. And listeners, if you have things for our top 3, you can let us know on our social media, which is OneGeek411. You can also hang out with us in our Discord server. Shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Check out our show notes on our website, onegeek411.com. Watch live on Twitch each Monday at around 7:15 Mountain Time and hang out for the post-stream chat. And then find the videos over on YouTube. And then, of course, you can rate and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Before we get into this week's what we've been up to, I have a story time because right before the show started, I don't think this is going to show up. I got a text message. It's just a link from someone with a Hotmail account. And I was asked if I judge people based on the type of email account that they have. And the answer is yes.
Yes.
When
Always.
I was a youth minister, I made it clear to our youth group that you never trust someone that uses Hotmail or AOL.
Or
And I
Yahoo.
made this clear to them. Oh, and Yahoo, unless it's for sports stuff, because that's, I guess, like the way that you do sports, but don't trust them anyway. But I made this clear while our church email address was a Yahoo, and I pointed out that irony to them, or was it was an AOL? So be careful, don't click links. But with that out of the way, let's jump into what we've been playing, reading, watching, listening to, etc. This past week. I think we're going to go in a little bit of a reverse order from last time. And so, Chris, what have you been up to?
So I got my new Pixel 4a. Whoop.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
And I'm digging it. It's a little slower than the 2, I'm not gonna lie, but it's nice to have like a normal battery again that doesn't just randomly restart your phone whenever you try to open a video. Yeah, so now my Pixel 2 is my dash cam. So I've been playing with time lapses on that. Yeah, I have a mount for it, and it's gonna be a like time lapse for my road trips. It's gonna be great. Plans. I've got plans. Other than that, I've been watching really random things. So there is a Zoid series on Netflix, and it's not the original Zoids. It's like one of the newer weird season Zoids, like from 2016 or 18 or something like that. I don't remember. Yeah, it's actually not that bad, especially if you like Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, it reminds me exclusively of like, what if Horizon Zero Dawn was a little more civil? Like, it wasn't as rough around the edges yet. Like, if society had progressed and we still like were able to partner with kind of the robots that we had made that are supposed to mimic animals. This is what Horizon Zero Dawn turns into, is Zoids, or at least the Zoids that's on Netflix currently, not the original series Zoids that were like just mech animal vehicles.
Shout out to Zoids.
So it's a throwback.
Zoids.
Although the original Zoids just did not hold up. Don't try to watch that one. It's hard. It's hard life. Also, Thundercats, the 2011 reboot, is now on Hulu. So I've been watching that, and I'm enjoying that. Although there's things about the new one that irritate me, and I'm just saddened. But at the same time, the animation's actually really good, and the overall storytelling phenomenal. So I definitely recommend that one. And yeah, there's a few other obscure things that I've been up to that I just can't remember outside of just trying to figure out, plan some photography trips and whatnot. So
Nice. Shanine, what have you been up to?
I have been recovering from my big canoe trip fundraiser on Saturday. Me and my brother canoed for 32 kilometers, which we talked about beforehand is 20 miles for all of you non-Canadians.
A certain co-host was very confused to what that meant. And,
Certain.
you know, I wasn't going to throw myself under the bus, but I also was
but
hoping,
he did.
Shanine,
His face
that you
definitely
wouldn't-
But he
couldn't
does
hide it.
anyway.
But
His
yeah.
face definitely
Um,
couldn't hide it.
and Shanine, I was hoping you wouldn't say how far it was in miles because I have it pulled up and I was going to be like, oh, well, that's obviously 19.8839 miles for anyone that isn't good at the conversion.
Our resident Canadian. It's great.
But yeah, we're raising money for one of our local youth ministries, and it was about a 5-hour canoe trip, and we were both very sore the next day. Surprisingly, not our arms, but our backs mainly.
That's where you're supposed to row from.
Well,
Legs
You
and
did
back.
good.
Screw
there
your
you
arms.
go.
Arms just hold things. That's what
I
electrical
also-
motors are for. That'd be me. I'd be in the back, just like.
Yeah, we
yeah,
did.
yeah, I'm paddling.
We talked
Can't you
about
tell?
hitching a ride with a motorboat quite a few times, but I also finished On Reading Well by Karen Swallow Prior. It was good. It looked at a bunch of different literature and how they can reveal how to live a good life. It was interesting. And so when I was little, I used to play this board game with my grandparents all the time. Like they'd bring it on our camping trips and we'd play it at their house when we went over. And it's called Wide World. And it's super simple. You're all little airplanes and you have to fly to all your destinations and then fly home. And I was gifted that this week by my grandma. So I'm super excited to have that now.
That's fun.
Good job, Grandma. Then Emma, what have you been up to?
I finished my Animal Crossing Island revamp because I decided to tear down everything I did and redo it all. So I finally finished that for the most part. I have, unsurprisingly, structured it around Gallifrey. So it's a 3-tiered system with the base being a desert and so on and so forth. I like it, and I have a rocket ship taking off at one point, and it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with myself. And then I, in my spare time, worked on creating my first proper D&D character, and not one that was like for a spinoff or whatever, but like actually one that's for a full campaign. And it's a dragonborn druid, so I'm excited to take it for a spin when I finally have the chance. But yeah, that's just something that I'm pretty excited about doing. And then I finished reading What If, a book about serious scientific answers to absurd hypothetical questions. It's a great book. It's hilarious, and it's written by Randall Munroe, who created the XKCD comics with all the little stick figures that spew scientific nonsense. He was a robotics person for NASA, I believe, for a long time, and then he just decided to make a webcomic, and this book was great because he just took submissions from his web series and like about what if someone pitched a baseball at the speed of light, what would happen? And so he went and said, okay, skipping beyond the fact that you can't pitch a baseball at the speed of light, here's what would happen. Basically, you would destroy the entire arena in a bomb, essentially. And he had all these funny little, comics to go with it. And I highly recommend it for people who like funny science stuff.
Do you know who could throw a ball at the speed, baseball at the speed of light?
Who?
One Punch Man.
Uncle Rico.
Duly noted.
Sorry, Napoleon Dynamite reference. Anybody get it?
Legitimately talked about Napoleon Dynamite this past week with some people.
it's
So
not a good movie.
I need to rewatch it, which was basically like the culmination of that chat.
There's movies that like identify like that inappropriately define our generation. Napoleon Dynamite is one of them. And
absolutely.
it's not a good movie. Why were we so into it?
Because
Time
it's
is a mystery.
funny. It's funny because it's bad.
I mean, yeah. Everyone was
It's like The Room.
As for me, this past week, I was on vacation, which is why I was not here for last week's episode. Dean and I went on a trip to Colorado, so we got to meet Emma in person.
Woo.
That's right. You guys haven't met yet.
Yeah, it's always that weird thing where like Emma, of course, like came on in 135 with Janine, but like I guess like 134 technically, but whatever. But like Emma has guested on this podcast so many times, but like we've never met, and it's just like, oh, okay. And so it's one of those like it's
I
kind
know
of
you,
weird.
but I don't know you.
It's so weird meeting people that you've talked a lot with, but haven't met in person.
Yeah.
But we had a great time, a great chat. And then, so I guess kind of like because of vacation, all the things that I did this past week kind of have to do with things that I was doing while on vacation. So based on Emma's recommendation, we hiked to Lake Isabel, which was about 40 minutes south of like Estes Park, northwest of Boulder, for people that are not from that area directly. So that was great. I think it was like a 6-mile hike that we ended up doing. So that was a ton of fun. Played
How many
a lot
kilometers is that, Cameron?
Well, funny
Off the
you
top of your
ask.
head.
No, I'm definitely not typing things right now. For the record, it's 31,680 feet. Thank you, Google, for letting me down and not doing the right conversion the first time. It's 9.65606 kilometers.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
You should have just rounded up to 10, and because those should be the easy ones. It's like, okay, 10 kilometers.
But they're not.
6 and
They're never easy.
I mean, a 5K race is how many miles?
It's 3 point something. 3.1?
3.1, 3.2, whatever.
Something like that.
3 point something. So you just
3.3?
double that. That's how I do my conversions.
3.1.
So 6.2 miles would be 10 kilometers.
Yeah, math checks out. Also played a ton of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. I with my 5th badge. Have more thoughts after I like beat the Elite Four and stuff. I like that they give you the Alolan versions of Pokemon. That's really cool. Caught my first shiny, so got that. Got a shiny Pinsir. And then yeah, chugging along. Turns out when you have Eevee and you can get a move of every type that Eevee has an evolution of, it's really easy because you can just swap to that attack for whatever's good on the gym.
Game's really easy.
Um,
And Eevee is OP. I beat it. I only used Eevee in that game.
I'm having to make myself not only use Eevee.
Also, when you get Pokemon Sword or Shield, you get a perfect Eevee since you have Let's Go Eevee.
Yes. I needs it.
Then you get really into breeding Pokemon and not have a
That's how they
life
get
ever
you.
again.
We were talking about movies earlier. I finally watched Logan.
Such a good movie.
Yes, it was so good. It's a very perfect Wolverine movie, as opposed to the other Wolverine movies. Looking at you, X-Men Origins Wolverine. So good. I definitely need an X-23 movie. And I think the saddest part of watching it was that of all the movies that like have been an X-Men property that deserved a sequel, Logan has been like the biggest one, and it's not going to get a sequel.
What a shame.
Like X-Men Apocalypse got a sequel, and X-Men Dark Phoenix. But we could have gotten Logan 2 with a better title than that probably, but we're not. And then on book front, I have been reading Plugged In by Daniel Strang at the recommendation of Shanine. I'm in like the epilogue now, so he is about to start what are I guess kind of like essays based on students of his in terms of how to relate to specific parts of culture. I haven't started those yet, but I should have the book done by next week because of like I said, it's probably last like 40 pages, and so and then I'll have bigger thoughts on that. And then we listened to a bunch of audiobooks on the trip. So we finished Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is a prequel to the Hunger Games. We listened to Jurassic Park. And then we got about halfway through Serafina, which is really good. I'd never heard of it. It's about this girl and like this world of dragons where the dragons are like this like disguised as people and like go around and are basically trying to like there's been a war and there's not a war anymore, but there might be a war soon. We don't know. Mysteriousness occurs. Have y'all read this?
Nope.
Okay.
Haven't heard of it.
I really enjoyed it so far. It definitely has its mysterious. The author, whose name I did not write down, Rachel Hartman. Yeah, Hartman. She is a really good writer. I've really enjoyed her style. And then, like I said, we're doing an audiobook for it, but it's been really good so far. And then I think that's everything I've been up to. And since that's everyone, it's time to jump into our discussion topics for this week. Chris, why don't you kick us off in this section too? Keep the pattern alive.
So, one thing that's kind of exciting happened. So there was a group of fans that did a little trailer or recorded a trailer for a kind of gritty, dark adaptation of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It caught the eye of a certain famous actor named Will Smith, who then used his connections, and this is actually a thing now. A dark, gritty reboot of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Does he just get, like, does something bad happen
So
in West Philadelphia where he's born and raised?
Instead of it being more like sitcom format, less like gritty, yeah, like it takes it focuses more on the drama of the situation, and yes, bad things do happen. Like it's darker. I can't wait till they actually make this. So it's just called Belair. And here, I'll put the link. I'm going to put this link up in chat.
I hope Nightbot doesn't ban you.
Well, can he ban himself, like the actual channel?
I don't know. Nightbot is a mystery.
Let's try it.
But this is just, it looks intense, and I am so excited that they, it was just created as a fan thing, a fun thing to do that they made, a group of friends did. But now that Will Smith got in on it and he could talk to his producers, originally bringing on some of the original show producers as well, and producing this, and this is actually going to be a new show, and we'll see. Like, it looks like people there are, as a result, studios are competing now to obtain the streaming rights, or just the rights in general, on where this is going to belong and what network it will belong to.
Just skimming the trailer that you posted, that looks amazing.
Yes. I am so stoked, and I want to see more of this too. Like, just taking, because, granted, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did a phenomenal job with, like, serious social issues at times, and those episodes are still ingrained deeply in my brain. But it was still essentially a comedy. There's good humor, good interactions. The characters are kind of extra as a result. This just goes in the opposite direction, and I want to see more things like this. I want to see more sitcoms from the 90s get rebooted in these dark, serious things, like following like the tone of like Breaking Bad or anything like just intense and taking it seriously. And I love the idea of like just these kinds of reboots. But yes, Bel-Air, official trailer, and officially happening.
For audio listeners, we will also have a link to the trailer in the show notes.
Woohoo.
Yeah. Oh, I really wonder how they're going to cast this too. Also, so last week we did talk a little more. We did talk about Epic Games and their feud with Apple. And we do have to say it's predominantly with Apple. Granted, yes, they are having issues with Google too, but there's a workaround unless you own a Samsung device. That essentially Apple has kind of gone nuclear on Epic due to their violation, and might even pull all developmental rights from Epic Studios in terms of developing any software for the Apple infrastructure.
But Chris, it's not like Epic, runs one of the largest gaming like development tools. Like, how could this cause any further problems?
Like Unreal Engine? What?
Oh. Yeah.
No issues at all.
Yeah. And on that, Microsoft has sided with Epic in this, like sided in air quotes, because like also Epic kind of is doing this to side with Microsoft over stuff that with their platform not being allowed on Apple devices. But Xbox has said that if Apple continues to push this, it'll cause like major issues because it'll force companies to have to look at other platforms besides Unreal, which is crazy.
I mean, yeah, as I previously noted, granted, this is kind of crazy. I do agree that Apple may need to look at their pay structure. But yes, Epic going around and like, I don't know, this seems really well planned. I think they obviously have a strategy in mind or something planned. They're obviously doing well enough that they don't need, like, I don't think that missing out on some of the income from the Apple Store is going to hurt them. But it is going to affect your user base for those that play on mobile. I'm still confused by that.
Is a large number of Fortnite players.
I'm just still so confused. Why is Fortnite on mobile platform in the beginning? But I guess it's playable. But
I would like to, on that. I would like to see, like, I mean, obviously, like it's Apple's platform, they should get a cut. That's how the store stuff works.
Mhm.
But like, I would really like to see how much money Fortnite has made Apple.
A lot.
Yeah, like
I'm
that's-
sure
like,
if you do enough digging, you can find it somewhere.
But at
in,
the same
somewhere
time,
in the
it's-
internet.
I'm sure there's other companies that make Apple a lot more.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
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 You know, in general, it's probably just a drop in the bucket. And honestly, Apple's company, $1 trillion company, I don't see Epic making them that much money. Like,
But hashtag free Fortnite.
although also just like with Flappy Bird, there is okay. So now there are premium devices being sold on eBay. The advantage is they come preloaded with Fortnite before the Apple Store ban. Just like they did with Flappy Bird. So after Flappy Bird got taken down, Apple devices with Flappy Bird preloaded were selling for thousands of dollars.
That's crazy.
Mm.
Why?
If you want to play Fortnite that bad, go buy a Switch and download it.
Go buy literally any other platform. Like,
Seriously.
go buy a nice toaster or like one of those TVs with a touchscreen. Like,
Yeah.
they just come preloaded with Fortnite and Skyrim. Like,
go buy an Android tablet. You have a bigger screen that way. Why are you spending thousands of dollars, several thousands of dollars just to have a device? I mean, okay, it's like a collector's piece now all of a sudden. Just crazy. But yeah, look it up on
Collector's
eBay.
piece.
Like,
yeah.
Quote, quote.
Like a 5-figure phone that's not even like it's like not even like, oh yeah, this is like the top of the line iPhone with preloaded Fortnite. It's like, yeah, I had it on my iPhone 8.
Big whoop.
It's just crazy. Things
Yeah.
like this just boggle me. Things that confuse me. Sneakers.
Sneakers.
Sneakers. Chris has
Like-
made his stance on sneakers well now.
Like the sneaker collecting game. I don't get it. People collect sneakers and they're worth thousands or just
Yeah.
Supreme clothing. What the?
I
What
don't
the-
understand that either.
I would like to direct everyone's attention to Jeff Goldblum Explains the Universe, or whatever that show was called on Disney Plus.
Oh, you've told me about this.
And he does an episode on sneakerheads. Let me see if I can actually get the the actual name of that show. But The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
Hmm.
He does one on sneakerheads. Highly recommend.
I mean, like, I get it. I just don't like. I don't at the same time. Collector's items are ridiculous, especially when they
Yeah.
are manufactured. Like when when you artificially manufacture the need or the limitations revolving around something.
Like only 200 of this product were made in the entire world.
Yep.
Therefore, you will be one of 200 very lucky people. And
Like-
by lucky, I mean you cashed out a whole bunch of money to get one.
Things like that make sense in things where actually you have to limit production.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that in clothing and whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
high-end car manufacturers, yes, because you have a small market to begin with.
Yeah.
For someone to buy this car brand new. So, yes, you're going to reduce, you're not going to make as many, but you're going to sell all of them. And you're going to know who each one goes to. I don't know.
But clothes?
Special edition consoles?
Magic the Gathering cards.
Yeah,
Wizards
that-
reprint the things.
The darn restricted.
Um,
Or what, the reserve list. Get rid of the
Reserve
reserve list. Should
Yeah.
not exist.
It really should not.
But yeah. So I guess is that my thing? I've made my stance on artificial
Scarcity.
Yeah.
Is that like,
Yeah. I don't know what the term would be there right now. My brain's fried. But yeah, those are kind of my two big things. I know there's some other things there, but I'll save that for next week.
Shanine, what do you got for us this week?
All right. It was announced that Olivia Wilde will be directing a mysterious Marvel project revolving around a female character.
And for the listeners, this is not Olivia Munn, who played Psylocke,
No.
in case you're confused.
This is Olivia Wilde, who's
Who's,
known for
actually
13 as part of
yeah,
House
who
and has also directed other
directed
things.
before. So, you know.
That's exciting. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so
Who is it going to be?
There's been lots of speculation about that, but I think the general favorite is Spider-Woman.
Mm-hmm.
I want... Why?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do want Spider-Woman or Spider-Gwen.
No,
want
because
Spider-Gwen so bad.
Spider-Woman was
I know.
different.
I know.
Okay.
But I want
And
Spider-Gwen.
but this gets to the questions, though. Because, like, this is supposed to also be through Sony. And as anyone... Like, it's a Marvel project through Sony. And as anyone who has read the comics knows, Spider-Woman has no connection to Spider-Man. Although she has cleared the name with him. And so it's a big plot. That's like a set of panels in one of the things.
I don't know. I'm looking more for things I need. I need Ironheart.
Mm-hmm.
I need Spider-Gwen. But obviously, we're probably not looking at any of those. Sony, though.
Yeah, I think Spider-Woman would be interesting, but that would definitely be very confusing for what that means for that deal that was like from years ago when Sony got the rights to Spider-Man. Like, what all is encompassed in that?
Yeah.
I would love to see Spider-Woman. I would be very sad she probably wouldn't be in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like
the MCU needs more women.
I mean, it's getting there.
It's getting there, but it's not quite there
It also
yet.
needs more of Asians.
Yeah.
You know what every series needs more of?
Asians.
Minorities.
Sidebar, I really want Lady Liberators. Like, I want that.
Oh, I know,
that
right?
movie that
Yes.
they've pitched to some degree. They've talked about it with directors and execs. That's what I want. Oh, Valkyrie! I 100% thought that was your cat for a second. I was like, what is Merlin on?
Crazy! I can't pick up Merlin that easily. Merlin's way too big. What else? Is that all you got, Shanine?
I mean, we can talk more about female superheroes in general.
I like them.
Oh,
Yes.
they're the best.
I once got told by a professor of mine that I looked a lot like Brie Larson, and I was very touched and honored that someone thought I looked like Brie Larson because I think that Captain Marvel is cool. So that's the only time anyone's ever told me that I looked like a celebrity. So yeah, that's my one connection to female superheroes.
I've been getting Cisco, but less now that I cut my hair. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would just like a good Phoenix movie. Like, that's
Wouldn't
really
we
I want.
all want
Like-
a good Phoenix movie?
Like, and I think I talked about this after we did like a previous conversation on it. Like, we always go straight to Dark Phoenix. Like, why do we not ever get Phoenix? Like it's even teased in X-Men Apocalypse that the Phoenix stuff happens, except it doesn't, and that imagery means nothing to Jean Grey because she hasn't encountered the Phoenix Force yet. Can't we get a cool Phoenix?
Please.
That's what I
Done
want.
The
properly.
biggest thing is they take so many shortcuts with the storytelling in X-Men movies.
They really do.
Like, and that's something like that ultimately Fox failed at. It's like, we're not, instead of like, something that has made the MCU so successful is they were willing to make worse movies for the benefit of the overall universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like Phase 2.
Yeah.
Ah. I mean, like, you know, in general, lackluster movies, but very important in the overall arc of the series. So they were willing to make a kind of worse movie that slowed things down to tell a better story, whereas Fox just jumped around all over trying to do like these crazy things, but you're not explaining anything. You're just like, oh, people love this character, let's make something. And it just convoluted the overall,
Muddied the water.
yeah, the mutant series
A
in
lot.
general. I want some She-Hulk. Like, I want a Hulk
Ooh.
universe. I want to go to the world of Hulk.
Yes.
And specifically for She-Hulk.
I am here for that one.
And that's coming to Disney Plus, right? That's where that's.
Are they doing a She-Hulk?
Isn't it She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and Moon Knight getting Disney Plus series? Somebody.
I know
in chat
Moon Knight
can-
is. I did not know She-Hulk was. That
I
one I was
thought
not
that's
aware
what it
of.
was, because I was talking about with some people about how it sure is convenient that the Marvel's Avengers video game is predominantly from Camilla Khan's perspective, and we're getting a Miss Marvel series. It's almost like synergy within the brand.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, I said I could be remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's a She-Hulk series coming.
I don't know.
Time will tell. Could Google, but
I'd also be very pro just like a whole new character no one's ever heard of.
Yeah. Just invent something.
Yes.
No, like, source material for anyone to get mad over. So that they can actually do whatever they want with it.
Yes, it would allow you to do a lot, like have the creators do a lot of creative freedom. It doesn't even necessarily like it can be something that's or just like really new that hasn't even completely taken off of. There's might be like obviously some hardcore fan people that, you know, picked it up because it was Marvel, but you know, it's an unknown character. I'd be down for that too. Yeah. Disney, hire us.
this is
We're ready.
as far as our idea goes, but hire us and then we'll flesh it out more.
Disney,
Right,
I'm
right,
getting
right.
my master's in film production.
I'll get someone big in the industry fired up just by talking, and then they'll just run with it, and then you can pay me my share, and we'll call it good. Like, I'm just the hype man. That's all I'm here for.
Just the hype man.
Just the hype man.
Shani, I don't know if you said, what are your overall thoughts, dreams on female superheroes?
I mean, I love to see more of them. I really actually did enjoy the Wonder Woman movie. I feel like there's mixed feelings
I
about
did
it,
too.
but I
There's
loved
mixed
it.
feelings about that movie.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, everyone's wrong then.
'Cause it's amazing.
I feel like that's one of the few DC movies, that was actually done properly and that was actually good.
Yeah, that one was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with that
No.
movie.
I know people who say otherwise, but it's definitely one of my favorites.
They must be
And-
Canadian.
They're wrong.
Just kidding.
They must all be Canadian.
It's like, I'm pretty sure the U.S. is on a consensus here. It's one of the few things that unite us.
Yeah.
Chris, you spend time in a very different part of the internet than I do.
I know, I'm just joking. I avoid things that cause conflict. Or half the
That's how you
people that
wanna
are
make your
saying it's
stance on
bad
positive
don't make any like
Valid reasons.
valid reasons. So you're just like, well, can't listen to you.
Maybe they're just petty.
Like if I can't listen to your argument and say I can see that, it's not valid. It's
Yeah.
like I understand.
In
where
other
you're
words,
coming
maybe they're
from.
just petty.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's some valid reasons, but I don't care about them because I like Wonder Woman, so whatever.
I can't wait for, was it 1986?
Yeah.
Is that the year?
1984.
1984. That's it.
Also, we just got confirmation from chat. She-Hulk is on the way.
Woohoo.
As a
Perfect.
series. So
I'm down.
But yeah, 1984. Like that. That's a COVID postponement, right?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just want to confirm.
Yeah. It was supposed to come out months ago, I think.
I'm like, it's like I feel like it's supposed to be out already, and maybe I just missed something. Was this one I just didn't make it to the theater to see and it's out, or is this one that just got postponed?
No,
of
that was
COVID?
a pandemic postponement,
Sounds about right. That's pretty standard.
like most things recently.
Yep. I'm also super excited for WandaVision because
Oh,
Scarlet
yes.
Witch is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty pumped for that one too.
I have not read a ton of comics, but Scarlet Witch and Vision are some of the series that I have read, and I love them so much.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for that.
I'm also just excited to see how they do this and how they approach this format.
Yeah.
Okay. I want every episode to be based on a different TV show.
I want a different director for each episode
Peace.
because it did so good for The Mandalorian. We need to do it. They just need to do that with like so many different series just to see what happens with it.
Yeah.
Just
I'd
because
be
it
okay
turned
with
out so
that.
well. Yeah.
I guess with that, Emma, what do you got for us this week?
I've got season 2 of David Tennant Does a Podcast With.
First Geek
This
411.
is yes, with us. That would be great.
Everyone start sharing.
Please. Please. So David Tennant, obviously, the 10th Doctor, Purple Man from Jessica Jones, and Good Omens. Great guy. Love this actor, amongst other things. And this is one of my favorite podcasts to listen to aside from our own here.
Represent.
I don't listen to our podcast.
Yeah, I know. Neither do I.
'Cause I participate. No, I'm joking.
And basically each week he has a different guest on, and they're all people like James Corden or Catherine Tate or Tina Fey. So it's a wide range of people, and they just talk for an hour about whatever topic comes up, and it's something I just like to put on in the background. But season 2 just started like a week and a half ago, and I'm pretty excited for it because obviously it's David Tennant, and you just get to learn more about him as a person, as well as whoever he happens to be talking with that week. So that's my exciting little bit of nerdy podcast world. Is if you want something to listen to in the background, go listen to David Tennant Does a Podcast With. It's great.
I
Aside
just
from us.
subscribed, so
Yeah.
I'm ready to check it out.
Yeah.
Not know that he did a podcast.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
love
he's-
It's great.
I mean, it's because we've been podcasting longer than he has.
Yeah.
He does only have 16 episodes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're
know.
pros by comparison.
Granted, we also don't get A-listers on. So if you
Well,
want
we
to
don't know A-listers. That's not fair.
listen to an interview with some random famous person,
Well, if we knew famous
That's a
people,
good-
maybe we
good
could have
place
them on
to
the
go.
show. But we
Yeah.
don't know famous people.
Everyone's
Yeah.
homework for this week is to go meet one famous person.
Give me like 4 years, 3 years to get through grad school, and another year to make my way in the film industry, and then I'll know someone.
Is Hank Green famous enough?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go Stockman Missoula.
Not gonna lie. I thought about that while I was there. I'm a big Hank Green fan.
I could meet him easily.
Absolutely. Just spend enough time in Missoula and you'll run into him eventually.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, he posts on TikTok. I could probably like triangulate his
Chris.
location based on. Okay, I'm just.
We're definitely getting into the stalker territory, and you just
Kids,
admitted
don't do
to
this
it
at home.
on recording.
Actually, do not do this at home.
Yeah, I'm excited to check that out. I've really enjoyed like getting into David Tennant's run in Doctor Who, and
Yeah.
so yeah, he's a great actor.
He's
I
phenomenal.
love him. I love him as the Purple Man.
Yeah.
I like
He did really well in that one.
Everything I've seen him in, except for Doctor Who.
Broadchurch is a good one if you're looking for a detective show.
I love Broadchurch.
Broadchurch was intense. Like,
It's
what is
very intense.
happening?
I have not heard of this.
Oh, it's so good.
It has Olivia Colman in it too.
Yes.
Who is also not Olivia Munn
No.
And
or Olivia Wilde.
Jodie Whittaker.
And Jodie Whittaker,
And
who are all Doctor Who alumni.
Arthur
Darville.
Darvill.
There's a lot of Doctor Who alum in Broadchurch. So
I mean,
well
I
as a
also
few
really
minor
liked him
characters
in
as
the
well.
in the Race to the Edge Netflix series.
Mhm.
As a voice actor for Spite Lout for the few episodes.
And he's in the new DuckTales.
You have a new one?
Woo!
Yeah. He's
yeah,
the grandpa doc.
yeah, he's Scrooge.
Scrooge.
He's basically not doing a voice. Like there's a little bit
It's
of
just him.
like a stronger accent, but it's 100% just him talking. Oh man.
Ballad.
And I guess that brings us to my topic. And so before we head into the dome, we had a little bit of superhero talk earlier, and I want to hear from everybody. Where do you stand on the spectrum of Marvel to DC? So assuming DC is a 1, and Marvel is a 10, you can tell how I'm weighting this. Where do you stand on the scale?
9.8.
I'd probably be a 7. DC Universe just has so much potential. It's unrealized.
And speaking broader DC, not specifically movies, but
Right.
in general.
Definitely more like toward MCU, but I'm trying to get myself to that middle ground.
Yeah,
I'm
I'd probably
definitely-
say like a 7 or 8.
Yeah. I'm much more of a Marvel person, but I think that's primarily because I feel like DC is super dark. But
Yes.
that may just be in terms of like
why it's so
what I've been
good.
exposed to. Like, yes, I do think there is a lot of potential there, but in terms of my personal preferences, in terms of like storytelling and humor, I'm much more of a Marvel person because that's just the kind of like they have the storytelling and all of that I enjoy. Whereas with DC, it's not that it's not my cup of tea. It's just it's not what I look for when I go to the superhero comic book world, if you will.
I was not expecting us to be as unanimous on this because I'm probably like an 8 or 9 on like so. There are like specific DC properties and series that I've loved, but as a whole, kind of Emma, to your point, the characters in Marvel I've always found more compelling.
Yeah.
And so those are the stories that I tend to go to
Mm-hmm.
because of that.
I will. This is what I'll say. I'll say that Marvel has more compelling heroes, or more human heroes. DC has more human villains.
Yeah.
I can definitely get
Yeah.
behind that.
And that's what I like about and that's probably also where they're seeing a lot of their strengths, because if you notice, like when they make movies focused around their villains, they're doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
And they should do that more. But just because it's such a good format, and also just what Christopher Nolan did for Batman. And so, but yeah, I agree though. Hero wise, Marvel has just best human heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, again, I was not expecting us to be as unanimous on that. But with that said, this past weekend was the DC FanDome, full of all the green screen goodness and Zoom calls and all of those things. And in that, we got a bunch of announcements. And so I'm going to do a quick run through of the bigger announcements, and then we can kind of chat through them. I'm really interested in what everyone kind of is most interested in from these. Also forgot to add it to the notes, but a Static Shock movie might be on the way. Like there were talks of that apparently. Like it wasn't in like the source that I found, but I saw that somewhere. So we gotta believe. Bring Static Shock to the big screen. But so the big announcements is we got a trailer for The Batman, which is Robert Pattinson's Batman take. We got a new trailer for Wonder Woman 1984 with we got to see Cheetah.
Woo.
And again, movie should have been out, but COVID. So like it's kind of weird to still be getting trailers for that.
Like a new trailer with new like revealings.
Yeah.
And it's probably just like, well, is there a part of the movie you can show without completely spoiling things? Yeah. Just recut it. Just cut it again.
Speaking of cuts, we got a new trailer for the Snyder Cut.
Oh boy.
Of the Justice League, which is we can talk about it more in a second, but it's supposed to be a 4-hour like mini series. So that's going to be a thing. We got a teaser image and some information for the Flash standalone movie, with the new costume reveal, as well as Michael Keaton returning as Batman. We got a extremely crowded Zoom call for the Suicide Squad, which is featuring all of the characters I don't care about, because there's like 20 people in this movie apparently. We got a teaser for Black Adam, starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson, future president of the United States, for that. Johnson. Then from a video game side, we got to see the official announcement and gameplay for Gotham Knights, which will feature the Bat family. And then the game Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, we got kind of like a tone trailer of the Suicide Squad starting their first mission, and it basically being, along the ideas of the teaser images, they have to kill Superman and presumably more of the Justice League. So those are the big announcements. There's a handful of other smaller ones, but those are definitely the big things. So why don't we go in reverse order? Emma, what are you most hyped about from the Dome?
Given that I didn't see it this weekend, Wonder Woman 1984, because as mentioned earlier, she's pretty awesome.
Okay. I still feel really weird and have no clue what this movie is going to be about. Like, how is the guy alive? How are things happening? No one knows.
No one knows.
That's how they get you.
But
yeah,
you're not going to answer any questions, and now we got you. Because you are just looking for answers, but you got none.
None of them.
None.
We're just giving you more questions.
Shanine, what about you?
I'm really excited for the Shazam sequel. because
Wh-
I think Shazam is my favorite DC movie. Yeah, I'm okay with saying that.
Which we got a title for. That was one of the ones that
Mhm.
I left off because I was kind of it's
Fury of the
Shazam,
Gods.
Fury of the yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Also-
a good. That was a DC movie I enjoyed.
The first Shazam was super surprising.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
Like,
it.
All right.
homework.
Yeah. See, the thing that Chris knows and that y'all have to learn about me is that if I don't see it in the theater, there's a good chance I'm going to just not get around to seeing it because all
Just
I watch
never
is
see it.
sitcoms. Like,
And it's not like
And
he
so-
watches like new sitcoms. He just rewatches the same
yeah,
sitcom
correct. And by sitcoms, I mean The Office,
Yeah.
Parks and Rec, How I Met Your Mother, New Girl.
and
That's all I
repeat.
watch.
Rinse
Yeah.
and repeat. No,
And
Shazam
well,
was
and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like,
yeah. Shazam is definitely one that I would recommend, and
It's kind of like Ant-Man. You see the trailers and you go, "This looks dumb and stupid," and then you show up to see it and you're like, "This is not what I was expecting at all," and it's absolutely hilarious.
I mean, who doesn't want to see Chuck as a superhero?
Exactly.
fair.
But that's also what made it so surprising. It didn't look like it was going to be as good as it was in general. And they just did a really good job with storytelling and as well as like good balance between humor without being over to the top.
Chad is shaming me for having not watched Shazam.
I mean that's what we were doing.
Fair.
Shame. Binning. No.
Chris, what announcement are you most excited for?
I'm not really sure if I'm excited about anything. I didn't realize Titans was still a thing.
Yeah, that was why I left that off the big announcement list. Was literally that point.
At that point, I didn't realize it was still a thing. I don't even know where you watch this show anymore. I have really mixed feelings about the Arrowverse and the Flash season 7, because I don't know what they're doing anymore, and it just gets weirder. And are they just gonna reset the universe again? To just reset.
Yes.
Hit that button again. So I mean, I'm most intrigued about Batman or the Batman because I'm very skeptical of Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Yeah.
I liked the trailer a lot, but at the same time, I'm also really annoyed at the voice. I'm just over that voice now.
Yeah. And so for you, for that point, the fact that the villain is the Riddler, and we can be getting like kind of like like the Heath Ledger, like kind of what that did for the Joker, like getting that take on the Riddler where he's not like Jim Carrey is the perfect for that version of the Riddler.
That was a phenomenal version.
But like getting a different take that's not like that goofy over the top, but a much more grounded Riddler, I'm super interested in. And I liked Robert Pattinson as Batman a whole lot more than I expected when I saw this trailer. Like,
yeah, like I was
super interested.
I'd get on the boat at this point. Right now. It's like I'm like not like overhyping it, but like as a result of this trailer, I like when they first announced him, I'm like,
Yeah.
meh. I mean, he sparkled at one point. Come on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's
that's
been a lot of really good.
It's just one of those things where he picked the wrong role early in his
Yeah.
career.
That's
So-
why I'm
and
skeptical.
it's following him all the way now. But I mean, like he's done so many other good things. Like I mean, like even his his smaller roles in other major films. So I mean, Cedric Diggory. I mean, he's done other great things since whatever that series called.
Twilight.
Don't say it. She
That
did
one
it.
thing with the sparkly vampires that
I know what's in it.
Um,
I just didn't want to hear it by name.
Great.
But yeah, you just, as a result of that, it follows him. So like when you think Robert Pattinson, you think this
Sparkly
awkward
vampires?
sparkly vampire role from when he was young, and that's like decades ago.
Right.
It's at least a decade ago, right?
I can tell you,
Like 11 years now.
as someone from Washington State, Forks, Washington is still desperately holding on to that claim to fame, and it is miserable if you go through there. It's just
There's like a lot of Mormons there.
2008 is the first
Yeah.
Twilight.
It's just
movie.
like they are desperately holding on to like that claim to fame, and they're just like, no one cares anymore.
Right. I mean, it's true. Like, and you got to give him credit because he has the fight, and he's always gonna have to navigate that poor guy.
Mhm.
And so, it's just like when you hear his name attached to something, there's just automatic skepticism.
Mhm.
But obviously, he's doing a good job undoing that skepticism because I'm getting on that boat, and we'll see. Like, I still have skeptical, but I'm willing to take a nice little leap of faith here, and trust that this is going to be a good Batman film.
I'll say, for my general take, the trailers and announcements stuff did a good job at getting me interested in wanting to go see these movies. Like, and again, like kind of with the exception of the Suicide Squad, because like there's so many characters in it, like that doesn't tend to work out well. But James Gunn is a good director, like, so like, will he pull it off? Like, but for me, my most hyped thing is the Gotham Knights game. I'm really excited to see what that is going to end up being. I like that you can do like 2-player co-op because in the playable characters, Batman is dead. Sure. Pretty much like the immediate belief is that he's definitely not dead because comic books.
I mean, also
nobody,
maybe it's just all the Bat family are fighting over who gets to be the next Batman.
Yeah. And so playable characters, I'm hyped specifically for Batgirl and Nightwing. And then there's also Robin and Red Skull, and they all have specific versions of the characters for Robin, like which specific Robin it is. And I don't remember that because, I don't feel like reading the thing that I attached to the file. But it'll be in the show notes. And so, but I'm really excited about that. I think that that's a really cool way of taking this franchise where we kind of finally get to see more of these other characters in a playable sense. I'm excited to not have to kill the Justice League. And yeah, I'm really excited. I like the RPG elements that they showed where you actually have like a damage number. Enemies seem to have a weakness. They've kind of implied that the game is like full open world and it'll level up around you. And so like if you go, they showed Mr. Freeze as a villain in the trailer. And they said that like he isn't just like stronger when you fight him later, but like he'll have different moves and different attacks based on what level you are when you fight him.
That's
so
cool.
I'm kind of interested in that. It sounds almost like Mega Man, where like you can approach the bosses in any order, but like you kind of like there's like an optimal path based on getting the things that people are weak to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of interested in what that's going to be, and it did a really good job of getting me hyped. So like I said, I don't know where we're going to end up with it, but I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And I guess with that, let's get into our top 3 for this week, which is Mythical Animals. We did not, I don't think, get any social media feedback. Got a lot of likes, but no one commented. So if you are in chat right now and would like your favorite mythical animal read on the show, you can go ahead and put that in, and we'll get to that, I guess, after we go through ours. And so continuing our previous order, Chris, why don't you go first?
What do you think my first one is?
Dragons.
So my first one are the Tanuki from Japanese mythology. And they are probably the most random, ridiculous piece of mythology I've ever heard. Because I don't even look. I'm not sure this is appropriate for the podcast. Seriously though, go look up like the mythology regarding Tanuki. Look up how they parachute, and look up some of their stories because they are out there, but they are wildly entertaining. And they also have shape-shifting, like. At least, so like traditional. The reason why I'm picking Tanuki though, is their presence in anime is great, and there's some dedicated animes to them that I would recommend. But then you actually look at their actual mythology, and things get weird. They're also known as raccoon dogs. But yeah.
Oh wait, I've heard about these.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
It's a weird Google search. Can
Yeah.
confirm.
Yeah, it's a very weird Google
Yeah,
search.
I'm not gonna let this like go on record like of discussing it. We could do it in the after show, but not in the formal episode because their mythology gets iffy. But like I think Ghibli does a good job featuring some Tanuki creatures. There is like going way back. Is it Pompoko? Is like an anime from 1994, focusing around Tanukis. And yeah, I like Tanukis, but they're funny. Okay, that's my first one. Am I going all three right now?
No, we always
Okay,
go.
good.
We always cycle through.
Well, sometimes we do it wrong. There's been a couple times.
As discussed in our like pre-show chat, there are literally no rules.
No.
So, Janine, what is your first mythical animal?
My first one is fawns. I just love Mr. Tumnus so much. Just love him.
Good call.
And just all like the scenes where they talk about the fawns like frolicking around the fires and like snowball fights and stuff. They're just wonderful.
Not a weird Google search, most likely.
I mean, probably can
Hopefully
still
not
get pretty
anything
weird.
can.
Yeah.
Anything can be.
Anything can be. Yeah.
I mean,
Emma.
Mr. Tumnus probably won't be a weird Google search.
No.
But I mean, there's always Rule 42. You never know.
Now turn that safe search on.
Yeah.
But you could probably find some weird things revolving around fawns themselves.
Emma, what is your first one?
My first one is the Norwegian take on trolls, because in more of that sort of Celtic world, they're less big and ugly and more small and jolly little creatures, and they're just like, sure, there may be the little troll hiding underneath the bridge asking for your money, but there's a lot of Norwegian art sort of centered around the like trolls that's super beautiful, and it's just like them going on a picnic and or having a wedding or whatever, and it's just a different take on trolls than we're normally used to. So yeah.
For me, my pick and the correct choice is the sky bison.
Yes.
So, both Appa
Fire ferret.
and
Back
I mean,
off.
fire ferrets too. I have multiple Avatar: The Last Airbender things or Legend of Korra things on
They're
my
not
list. I'm gonna try to keep it to
mythological.
that one. Hey, they tell myths. The show's not real. It's an animal.
I mean, but the animal's real in the show.
But yeah, Sky Bison. Teach people how to airbend, fly people around, help them take down the Fire Lord, all the good stuff. So, Chris, what's your number 2?
It's one of the decks I am currently working on and planning on building. The Phoenix.
Ooh, nice.
Because you can't go wrong with a Phoenix. It's also one of the few creatures in Heroes of Might and Magic that competes with the dragon. And yeah, can't go wrong. Just rebirth. Also, just like the lore, like just in terms of storytelling, Phoenixes are phenomenal because they encompass so much of that theme of death and rebirth in like anything they throw in. And it's always just like a pleasant surprise. Like it's like you hear it. Like every character that hears about how Phoenixes die and are reborn doesn't believe it until it has to happen. Like it's like, oh, aren't you sad? It just died. It's a Phoenix.
I feel like that's the same as like the sci-fi tropes around AI.
Yeah.
It's like, did you not watch all the other movies on AI?
It's like, did I not just explain this to you?
AI is always going to go wrong,
And
no
rebirth.
matter what.
And a Phoenix will always be reborn from its own ashes.
Yeah.
It's fire went out. What? I'm sad. It's like, what did I just say?
Did I stutter?
We just explained this. But yeah, Phoenixes. I almost want to go dragon, but dragons are greedy. They're brutes. Phoenix is elegant. It's a companion.
Mm-hmm.
It's immortal in a sense. Yeah. And I think Phoenix Feathers in my wand from Pottermore. But
Biased much?
Yeah.
is fate. You can't control that. It's Pottermore. It's accurate, okay?
Oh man, Pottermore. Janine, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Kitsune, because foxes.
Yeah, I saw that one coming.
Speaking of which, I just got a low-end Ninetales in Let's Go Eevee, and it's the best thing ever.
Thanks for taking my last one.
You took Phoenix, so
Yeah.
Oh. No, I was talking about Cameron.
Oh.
He had to mention Ninetales.
Emma, what's your number 2?
Centaurs, because they're cool and you can talk to them because they'll talk back. And who doesn't want to be a half horse, half person? Also, there's a lot of jokes around centaurs that are just sort of funny, like imagining newborn centaurs where the horse half is totally functional and then the human half is just cannot keep itself upright because that's anatomically correct. The horses can like run from the moment they're born basically because it's a evolutionary adaptation, and then us people are just like, we need to be held for like 2 years, year and a half. So it's just this funny image of the centaur running around with its little child that cannot hold itself upright but is somehow galloping around.
And we have an important centaur question coming in from chat, which is from Skull Rose Gaming. How do centaurs wear pants?
They don't. They're centaurs.
Very good question. Depends on their personal preference.
Where's their stomach?
Also, a very good question.
Do they have multiple?
Yeah, I was just going to
Does the
suggest that. What if
human
they have
have
two?
like grass?
Does the human do they graze? Yeah.
Or do they just sort of eat tree branches?
Like yeah, like these are like you were mentioned anatomically. Where's their heart? Where's everything else? You have literally outside of the head most of a horse.
Yeah.
And then you have half a man on top of that. And where are all the organs?
See, this is why I picked it, because it's fascinating to think about.
Yeah.
I'm a
big
centaur because
fan
I'm a
of-
Sagittarius, and I'm
a
confused.
Sagittarius too, Chris. We're friends. I'm a big fan of centaurs' pants only on the back.
Like on the back two legs?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
I mean, they're essentially an insect.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
do have six
man.
limbs.
They have
technically
6 limbs, and they have essentially 3 distinct pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Segments.
Big brain.
Just saying. Centaurs are insects.
This is our conclusion. Centaurs are insects, and no one can change our minds.
I mean, there's a few probably other aspects in the etymology there that disqualify it, but at the basic definition, it's an insect.
My number 2 are gorgons, with a shout out to Naga. So like the snake-like humanoids. Vraska is my favorite planeswalker. She's a gorgon. I like that. I like the myths around like Medusa and stuff like that. I think that that's a very interesting, kind of just archetype. I don't know if that's quite the right word there, but I like this idea of these like sneaky snake-like creatures that have these magical powers that like the turning you into stone, that kind of thing. So gorgons, shout out to Nagas, you're not as cool, but then Chris, what's your number 3?
Ents. I love Ents. I don't know why. Trees are weird. Trees are just cool. And then, like, an intelligent tree is just even cooler. And not gonna lie, I fantasize about, like, going climbing in the woods, and it turns out that's an Ent. And it's just carries me out of the woods. Accuses me of being a goblin. Or an orc. Yeah. Ents. Specifically Lord of the Rings Ents, but very specifically Lord of the Rings Ents. They offer the most wisdom in that show out of any other race. Also some great humor as they get lit on fire and
Have to put their heads out in the water.
One of my like the thought and detail put into that portion. I'm just like, hey, just let this little humorous part here. Have his head get caught on fire and have it put it out. Just like, who thought of that?
Someone who's good at attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Shanine, what's your number 3?
Number 3 is Pegasus, because who doesn't want a magical flying horse? Exactly. Again, there's
Also-
Fledge from Chronicles of Narnia.
Also
Mhm.
makes more sense anatomically than a centaur.
Yeah.
You just add wings. It's not an extra piece.
And Pegasus in Disney's Hercules is just delightful.
It's one of my
Mhm.
favorites. Best portrayal of Pegasus.
Absolutely.
With the brain of a bird. Such a good scene and movie.
So underrated.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my top 3.
Emma, what's your number 3?
If you want to talk about anatomical, let's think of the hippocampus. Half horse, half fish.
It's doable.
I think it's cool, despite being stupid. It's a literal seahorse.
I mean,
I
there's
just
better
think it's-
seahorses, like the Kelpie.
I mean, yes, I thought about picking the Kelpie, but I feel like the hippocampus doesn't get enough credit in this world for just being plain stupid. Plus, I feel like it's every little girl's dream. You get both a horse and a mermaid squished into one.
It's also an underrated part of our brains, but you know.
Yes, that too. But alas, we're not talking about our brains right now. We're talking about mythical creatures.
And you know,
So-
this physiology makes more sense though
Yeah,
than
because it only has 2 limbs.
exactly.
Or 3 if you count the tail as a limb.
Well, I mean, like even then, like it's not like where they cut the fish off and where they cut the horse off is literally half and half. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need duplicate organs to
Duplicate body
for
parts.
this to make sense.
Yeah.
Like you can fit all the organs of a single creature into the space and not have
Yeah.
any space left over.
Or have any health issues.
Seriously.
But yeah, I just think it's a super cool sort of mythical creature that doesn't get talked about a lot. So
I like it. I feel like in general, water mythical animals don't get enough hype, except for like Nessie.
I mean,
Yeah.
But-
there was that like series on mermaids on like National not Nat Geo.
Oh,
Back when
yeah.
there's a portion of that season almost had me convinced.
Yeah.
Almost had me. And then they went on this weird same with the Alien series. I was convinced. Like I'm actually even more convinced because there's certain news that recently came out from our government. But mermaids, I was convinced. And then there's like randomly halfway through the series they took this weird turn and I'm just like, you lost me. Never mind.
And I'm out.
Yeah, it's like you were so close and then you went crazy.
You went crazy.
It's like logic. Gone.
Not logic.
Conspiracy.
For me, my last choice, then we'll get into some from chat, are elemental things. So like in D&D, that would be like the Ganassi. And then kind of in a lot of other like mythologies, you have these ideas of the like the beings like that are like literal manifestations of the elements. It's a big plot point in things like Frozen 2 as well, but like those types of creatures that are like the elemental manifestations on the plane. And so also really cool magic cards. So but yeah, elemental things.
Things. I like it's like not an official term. Just elemental things.
Because like if they're made out of the elements, they
It's like
can
the
be anything.
entire bracket here. Like everything in
yeah.
this box.
Right. Well, I'm not making you like pick a type of ent. Like you don't have to pick oak ents or elm ents or purple heart ents.
Because an ent in general is just a sentient tree.
Yeah.
And mine are just sentient elements.
But I know, but your definition, it's element thing. So anything that relates to the breakdown of these 4 elements into creature types is okay. So you have elementals, you have the Ganassi, you have benders.
Well, no, I would not put benders.
Okay.
Because they're not like a physical. It's like an acquired skill, or I guess genetic skill in that case. But yeah. Then over in chat from Chunk the Hut, we have hippogriffs, which is a great choice.
Mm-hmm.
Skull Rose Gaming, Griffins or Nessie are pretty cool. Another shout out to Water there. Nerd of Godcast says Turduncan, which you know is not a mythical creature. Nightbot, please mute them.
And it's not that.
But then Nerd of Godcast then hops on and says Norwegian trolls. So another shout out
Yeah.
to Norwegian trolls. So Nightbot, you can unmute Nerd of Godcast. And so
Shout out to Moomin Trolls.
Also, Turducken's not that great. Too much work, not enough.
too much.
That and it's like, or I could have just had these 3 separately and enjoyed more. It's not that great. Turducken. Turbriskafil. That's where it's at.
I think I just gained weight. Hearing
Just
that.
thinking about it.
That's the point.
On our next episode, we will be chatting about our top 3 cars. Will they be actual cars? Will they be like cars
Concepts?
from? Yeah, like will they be like the Tesla truck thing? Who knows? It could be the Batmobile. You'll have to tune in next week when we discuss our top 3 cars. And if you are a listener, of course, we encourage you to reach out to us on our social media, which again is OneGeek411 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PlayStation community. If you want to hang out between shows, you can do that over on our Discord server. And then you can shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. You can watch live on Twitch Monday nights at 7:15 Mountain Time. We would appreciate followers, subs, all that kind of stuff. And then you can find the videos later on our YouTube. And if you can like, comment, ring the bell, whatever those things are that people say in videos. And then, of course, rate and subscribe on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. And then you can check out our show notes on our website, onegeek411.com, where you can find our sister podcast, Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust, where they discuss all things Disney. And then, of course, you can find us on our personal social media. I'm Himar Whittle.
I'm not so foreign.
I am not prepared.
The Hoot and Howl on Twitter and Hoot and Howl Tales, TALES on Instagram.
Wash your hands.